December 1991, Austin, Texas. A routine night at a local yogurt shop ends in a scent so horrific, it would haunt the very first hour. 4 young girls, on silent shop, and a blueprint of an investigation that was destined to fail from the very first hour. For 35 years, the justice system claimed they had their men, but in 2026, the truth finally emerged, proving that sometimes the evidence doesn't just point to a lie. This is the deconstruction of the Texas yogurt shop murders. This is a Crime Blues print.
The night of the incident. It was nearly closing time, 11 p.m., a Friday night that should have ended with nothing more than the sound of a locking door and the hum of empty freezers. Amy, Eliza, Jennifer, and Sarah. They were just kids. Responsible, hardworking, with their entire lives ahead of them. But someone was watching. Someone who didn't care about their dreams. Around midnight, a massive fire broke out. When the Austin Fire Department arrived, they expected a routine blaze. What they found instead was a scene of clinical brutality. The girls had been bound and executed before the fire was ever set. The heat was so intense it melted the machinery. It was a deliberate attempt to erase the blueprint of a killer. But in their rush to destroy the evidence, the perpetrators left behind something they didn't count on. A microscopic trace. A ghost in the machine that would take over 3 decades to identify. At the time, the police had no leads, no DNA database, just a city paralyzed by fear and a mountain of charred debris. The pressure to find a monster was so high that the authorities began to build a case not on facts, but on desperation. The failed investigation. With no physical evidence and a city demanding justice, the Austin Police Department turned to the only thing they had: interrogation. They focused on 4 young men: Michael Scott, Robert Springsteen, Maurice Pierce, and Forrest Wellborn. But there was a problem. There was no forensic link between these men and the yogurt shop. No fingerprints, no blood, no hair. So, how did the state build a case? The answer is as old as time: coerced confessions. For hours, under the intense heat of interrogation lamps, the suspects were pushed to their breaking points. The blueprint of the crime was fed to them by the investigators themselves. Details only the killers should know were leaked during the questioning, creating a feedback loop of false information. By the time the trials began, the narrative was set. 2 of the men were sentenced to death, and the others faced life behind bars. The public felt safe again. The case was closed, or so it seemed. But while the wrong men sat on death row, the real killer's DNA was sitting in a cold storage locker, waiting for the world to catch up. The 2026 DNA revolution. For decades, the yogurt shop case was a ghost that haunted Austin. The families were divided, and the men remained behind bars, claiming innocence. But science was moving faster than the law. By 2026, a breakthrough in forensic genealogy changed everything. A tiny, degraded sample, previously thought to be useless, was reanalyzed using new AI-driven sequencing. The result didn't just exclude the 4 men, it pointed to a completely different blueprint. In February 2026, the state of Texas officially exonerated the remaining defendants. The news sent shockwaves through the American justice system. The perfect case from 1991 had been dismantled by the undeniable truth of a genetic code. But while 4 men walked free, a terrifying question remained. If they didn't do it, who has been walking among us for the last 35 years? Conclusion and outro. The Texas yogurt shop murders serve as a chilling reminder that the justice system is only as good as the blueprint it follows. When we prioritize speed over accuracy, the truth is often the first victim. Today, the streets of Austin are a little quieter, but the shadows of 1991 still linger. As DNA technology continues to evolve, we are forced to look back at every closed case and wonder, how many other blueprints are fundamentally flawed? If you want to see more deep dives into the cases that defined and defied justice, make sure to subscribe to Crime Blueprint. We map out the cases others are afraid to touch. Thank you for watching, and remember, the evidence never sleeps.